Okay, now the next thing we might do with this sandbox terrain shape that we've created here is, I'll explain something to you. This sandbox that we've done, we've already seen how you need to double click on it to open it up. So I'm just going to double click on it again. Just double click and it's open now for editing, so I can now select individual pieces, and just like I could do anything in SketchUp, I'm not too sure if you could actually pull a face. No, because it's a plain surface, it won't let you pull faces unless you explode that, because it's part of the surface. But you could move individual points and so on and so forth. Now what I want to do next with it though is you probably don't want to see that gridded surface after you've used your undulating tool, your smooth tool. So if you triple click, I don't think you can do it without triple clicking. Oh, you might be able to. No. If you I'll just undo what I've just done there. If you triple click so that you select all of the entities attached to that surface, and then right click on top of it and go up to soften and smooth edges. What you can do then is you can change the amount, so I can pull this slider back so there's no softening happening, or you can push it through so more and more happens, and it doesn't look like it's having much of an effect past about 20 degrees or something like that, so I'll leave that there. But if I also check soften coplanar, all of these things that haven't been moved at the moment in our smooth command, they've been left coplanar. So if I triple click again, if I soften those coplanar faces, surfaces, you lose all of those. The opposite of coplanar would be normals, and if you smooth normals, well, it won't have any effect on us here at the moment, but normals are faces that are at right angles to the surface. We definitely want to soften the coplanar, and then you can click outside, close the soften edges toolbar, and that's the effect that you've created now around the outside of the building. Okay. I better make a layer for that now, so we'll open up the layer box and open that up and call that site or something like that. Close the layer, press enter and close the layer dialog box, select your site and then change it to that layer, and deselect by clicking outside. So by the time you now came up to a nice perspective view or something like that, you've got this irregular ground plane around your building now that would look somewhat realistic. Now this is without actually generating this from an actual survey drawing, but we'll show you a little bit later how we could do that as well. So just to get a little rough idea, if you know something about the terrain outside the building, you can almost do a very quick terrain modelling with some very approximate measurements from around outside the building. Okay. So the next step that I'll go on with now will be showing you how you can add more detailed components, and probably one of the easiest ones to show you, which is a little bit dramatic also. If you just open up your components dialog box, and down in the Google search bar there, if you were to type in solar panels, solar panel, and click the search tool, this will connect to the internet and have a look for any SketchUp components that relate to your search query. And if you scroll down through the list here, you can see it's found quite a few solar panels through here, and that's interesting. I didn't know Velux made solar panels. They make roof windows. There's quite a few solar panels there to have a look at. Ream solar low line, we'll bring that one in. So if you just click on the actual icon, and then I want you to zoom out far enough so you're not putting it on top of that site. Just drop your Ream solar low line panel somewhere out there, and while you're still in this dialog box with all those solar panels found, the other one that you might want to load in would be a BP Solar 3 module. So if you drop one of those in out there somewhere too. Now I'll just close the components dialog box here now, And for example, the photovoltaic cells, the BP photovoltaic cells that we've brought in here now, I'll just have them selected, and I'll rotate them, but I'll very carefully zoom up onto this edge of the panel until I get the red protractor showing up, and click there. Then I'll come across to give a 0 direction on green axis, and then I'll tilt that at the, I think our roof slope was 27.5 degrees. And then while I've got that highlighted, I'll pick up the move tool and I'll zoom right in on this bottom bracket. The bottom corner of the bracket's been a little bit hard to get that in at the end point through there, and I'll pick that up and place it on my roof in a nice location like this. I could use the tape measure tool to accurately set this out in some locations, but I think I might place this just by eye, might be good enough for our purposes. If you wanted to, you could use your tape measure. So I might click that there. Oh, I seem to have lost it. I'll just undo that and try again. Moving it from that endpoint, and I'll move that endpoint to somewhere up here. I think it says on face. Okay, that's better. So that's how it should have worked. It might not be in the right position here now, so I could move it along this fascia edge through here. Like I say, you could use tape measure tool to set it out. While it's still selected though, I'm going to press the control key, and I'm going to make a copy of this from somewhere along this edge to somewhere along that edge, and we'd have 6 panels there. That'd give us probably 1 kilowatt of power. And we also brought in the Rheem solar low line for hot water, so I could do the same to that. So I'll just pause the video and I'll show you it's just the same location again. So that would be the final location in much the same way as you did for the photovoltaic cells for where you want to put the solar hot water. And now of course what you can do is you can now check time of day, shadows, to see if there's any shadow being cast over the panels. A little bit over the solar hot water panel there early in the morning, but it's very early in the morning when that's happening there. It's probably something like 5 or 6 o'clock or something, well, even less than 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock there. At different times of the year though, we just better make sure of it. Well, that's very early in the morning in summer, certainly. So there is a bit of overshadowing. I might, probably with that in mind, I think it might be a good idea to pull this roof overhang back to 600, but that, once again, you can make your own decisions about things like that. But I'm just going to show you how I might do that. I'll get over in green axis direction. So I've just moved that roof back to a 600mm overhang now, and once again, so you could play with your sun angles now to see what effect that had on your solar panels. And different times of day. Anyway, like I say, so you could play around with that a little bit, to have a bit of an idea of how that's going to affect that. Good tool for analysing positions of things, but it looks like it's going to be optimal to move these panels probably down slightly more. Oops, I'll stay on, make sure it stays on face. So on edge to on edge, probably want to stay a little bit away from the gutter edge. And most important probably for the solar hot water seem to be affected in the late or early morning sun. So I think I might move that one down a fair bit. And I'll also move him across as well, get it away from that roof overhang. Okay, but you could see how you could sort of analyse different options and try out different surfaces. So we might just stop the video there, and when we come back we'll start having a look at putting some windows in.